Hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning to a special edition of Steel City Sports World. I'm your host, Luther Dupree. Got a great panel on with us tonight. Give us 1 second. There we go. All right, Claudio's in the house, the Hall of Famer. We got my man Lee McGinnis. All Lee McGinnis is in the house. And we got Smokin Jim on the phone because with his Obama phone, he don't like using StreamYard. So, hey, fellas, thanks for tuning in. It's a different night. We got a lot to talk about, though, man. I'm excited, man. We made it through another year. Steel City did some big things. I'm going to talk about it. But, Claudio, Steel City News, what do you have for us, man?
Oh, good to see you, Lee. Nice to see you, Lee.
Hey, what's up, Claudio?
Right, all right. I'm going to do something called right and wrong. I've been right and wrong. I was wrong about Mason Rudolph. Jim's been talking about him. It looks like I've been wrong. I was right about Kenny Pickett. He's not a first-round draft pick. He's not a starting quarterback. He's a backup at best. I was right about Najee Harris. I think the top 3 running back in the league. I was wrong about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury separating themselves from the rest of the heavyweight division. Everybody almost tied up. I was wrong about Big Baby Miller, he lost a couple weeks ago in Saudi Arabia, but he just got arrested. So I was wrong about him. I was right about the Pirates falling apart. They did well. They got hot. Baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. And unfortunately for them, they didn't do too well. And then I'm also right about the MFL and the MLB, Mediocre Football League and the Mediocre Baseball League. Both leagues, unfortunately, in my opinion, have become mediocre.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, nice and sweet. All right, Smokin Jim. You still with us, man? What you got for us, Smokin Jim? The words you're about to hear reflect Smokin Jim. They'll reflect my thinking. That'll reflect Lee's thinking or anybody else you're about to hear. Smokin Jim stands alone in all of his opinions. We call him the Cat Williams of Steel City Sports World. That being said, it's all yours, Smokin Jim.
I always thought Deontay Wilder was the biggest wilder in sports. But Alan Quimper got him beat.
Ooh!
I didn't know if their coach was Steve Spurrier or Mike Warfield. Hey, even Terrell Owens said he's trying too much. Alan Quimper knows they're out recruiting any team in the country. Alan Quimper got more kids out of the portal than 5 times in Colorado. Ambridge and others are feeder systems to Alan Quimper. Alan Quimper got more legitimate Division I recruits than Pitt. They recruit 3 to 5 D1 recruits every year. The rule is very clear, Lou. You can't win a championship and recruit 3 or more incoming transfers. Nobody is moving to Alan Quimper for a better quality of life. Let me say that again. Nobody is moving to Alan Quimper for a better quality of life. I don't care if Alan Quimper has 100 boys. Most of them are great football players, and how many are recruited in. The Steelers only have 53 players, so they play down low. And Penn State and Michigan only have 100 players, so they play Grove City and Washington and Jefferson on New Year's Day. Alan Quimper's lucky I'm not the PIAA committee person because they would not be 4A, they would not be 5A, they should be a 6A school. Alan Quimper, don't shut and move to 5A. I'll say it again. Alan Quimper, keep your mouth shut. Shut it for you.
Wow. Those words are Smokin Jim. I completely disagree with everything you just said there, Smokin Jim. Listen, you can't. They're a small school. They're a 2A school, and they're moving up to 5A. They don't have that many transfers. The guys that they saying are transfers, they grew up in there. I completely disagree. How can you justify moving them up and not Southern Columbia, Smokin Jim? That's my question for you. How can you do that?
My question, Southern Columbia, a bunch of average white boys that can't play college football, and they grow up in the system, and they coaches to sell off, and they win championships. They're not recruited in Southern Columbia. They're not college players. Aliquippa's bringing in Division I prospects on their transfers, brother. That's the difference.
Yeah, you sound just like Clarence Thomas would say on that, Smokin Jim. Listen, if you're moved, they didn't win seven championships in a row, Jim. Come on, man.
The one thing I can say is Paul Zeiss is only black when it helped his rating. And this man grew up in Fitz Ramper, went to North Allegheny. Now all of a sudden he want to get behind Aliquippa to boost his ratings. Come on, Paul Zeiss.
Right is right, Jim. I don't know where you're going with that one, Smokin Jim. But listen, right is right. I agree with what he's doing. I'm glad he brought, some vision to it because it needs to be said, man. There's no reason they should be made to play up 3 divisions. They're going up against teams with 75-man rosters in 5A. I agree with the coach Aliquippa. I think they're being targeted because they're so good. I don't like it at all, and I disagree with it, man. But I figured you come on here and find a way to go against Aliquippa, Jim. It's just wrong. I don't agree with it. Real quick, because I know there's a lot of other people that want to get in here. I want to say a couple things about my opinion. So, couple things, man. I want to go in today, but I'll keep it nice because we got a lot of people that want to get on the panel. One of the things that I liked about last year, of course, was my boy LeBron James. He broke Kareem's record last year, and the Lakers aren't doing so good so far. They're about to fire Darvin Ham, but I'm expecting to make a big trade. But respect the game. He's put in the work. I'm teaching a group of kids now how to use teamwork and play together, and I tell them about play the game like LeBron James, play it the right way, get yours, but always get your teammates involved, and I'm hoping they learn something from that. Jim, another thing I want to disagree with you with, as far as women's sports, one thing that I liked was, we had the two. We might have the next Bird Magic in women's basketball. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, both of them, great NIL deals. They may be headed to meet again in the March Madness. I think it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to see it. So that was one thing. I think this may be the thing that jumps women's basketball, moves them up a level. So I'm excited about that, Smokin Jim. But listen, we got a lot of stuff. We got my man Ali in here. I think Sean Tompkins just jumped in too. Lee, you got something you want to add real quick?
My first question is to Smokin Jim. How many band members do Aliquippa have?
18.
Lee, don't get him started with that craziness, man.
Hey, I'll talk about the Steelers if y'all were talking about the Steelers.
Yeah,
I would say this. No matter what happens on the off season, the major thing is, Tomlin made the right decision of putting Mason Rudolph in as who gave him the ball for the week. Like he said, he's going to keep the ball. And one thing one's got to understand about Kenny Pickett was never taught an NFL pro system. Mason Rudolph was taught an NFL pro system. So, you got a struggling team that were taught, high school, college schematics. So, you got a guy that been around the great Todd Haley and some other coordinators. And
Todd Haley. Let's not say that. Todd Haley.
Check it out.
That's nowhere near his name, man.
But you want to look at, the fact that he got some growth in him through the years, and that's why, he gets there, he goes through his progressions, he gets rid of the ball quick. I feel, Kenny wasn't doing bad till he got hurt. But when you go with a guy that's more familiar with NFL schematics, and he was taught wrong from the start when they hired Matt Canada.
Okay. All right, we also got my man Sean Tompkins in the house. What's going on, Sean?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, man. What's your thoughts, man? We got a kind of an open show right now.
Oh, okay.
Topics.
Okay. I want to give a shout out. I know y'all usually have a showdown in Manchester. I want to give a shout out to John Saunders. He grew up playing basketball down Manchester, played at Langley, played at Edinburgh. He has a son, John Saunders Jr. He's from the Pittsburgh area. Went to high school with his mother. He ended up going to high school down in the North Carolina area. I ended up going to see my alma mater, Penn State, play against John Saunders Jr. He transferred from Miami of Ohio, first year starting safety at Ole Miss. They beat Penn State in the Peach Bowl. It was good to catch up with his family. I know a few of his aunts and everything. It was good to go down there and see them play. I felt bad for the kid, Dante Cephas from Penn Hills, wide receiver at Penn State. Good luck to him at Pitt. Somebody once told me that one of the issues that Penn State has is that they have no quarterback development in regards to developing quarterbacks and want receivers to go up there. And I'm seeing why now. I guess the Cephas kid had a little issues with possibly going up there this past year, and they really could have used him in a bowl game. And for them to not use him, just ridiculous. As far as the Steelers are concerned, they have the right guy in our quarterback. Chris Hoke has been saying it for the past couple of years. Mason Rudolph is the best quarterback of people at practice. What you do on the practice field is usually what you're going to do in the game. Mason Rudolph, from what Chris Hoke has said, he goes to the practices that he's the best player there. If you notice, the 2 times that Kenny Pickett got hurt, he got hurt on when he was running the football. Instead of letting go of the football, and they both, if I'm not mistaken, one was on a 4th down play in Houston, in which they said there was 2 receivers open for a first down drop-off. And I was at the Cardinals game in Pittsburgh, and I was at that end of the field where he got injured. And if he would have just released the ball early, as a quarterback, especially the way the NFL rules are, let your players do the work for you. You pretty much don't got to do the work. And he got injured on that play. And actually, it may have been a blessing in disguise to the Steelers offense, because look at what's going on now. You've had Freiermuth had a good game. Right after, the coordinator got injured, Mason Rudolph's been doing good. The running backs are doing good. So it may be a blessing. They have is playing. Are they willing to keep him, or let him go? And if you let him go, what backup are you going to have? Because if the Steelers really want to be truthful, next year they got going to if they make the playoffs or not, they got going to it like, look, we may have to have an open quarterback competition.
They need to. Yeah, I agree. You were breaking up a little bit on that, Sean. Who else? It looks like we had Kelly join too. We're going to bring Kelly up. Listen, a couple things I did want to get to. Jim, you still on the line with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you were calling for Rudolph quite a bit. What have you seen? Or is it surprising, or just kind of what you expected? I know George Pickens looks like he's loving him, having him back there.
Well, Sean probably said it best, so did me. Rudolph is 6'5", man, and he's a proper quarterback. You got a live arm. You got some receivers that can get the ball, get downfield, but Trubisky and they can't get the ball downfield for him. I tell you what, George Pickens in the last 2 weeks over 300 yards. He got 63 catches on the season, 1,100 yards, 18 yards per catch. And I tell you what, that opens up everything. The running game is unbelievable, man. Both of those backs are running angry, stiff arming. I don't know how Jalen Corn is stiff arming with that little arm he got. It's stiff arming, man. Hey, listen, and that offensive line led by Dan Moore. I tell you what, man.
No, let's not. Oh, Jim, damn, you going to try to slide that in there. Dan Moore's the weak link. You called for him. You said he was a Pro Bowler. No, he's not no daggone Pro Bowler. Listen, the running game got better when they put Broderick Jones in there. Like I told you, the running game picked up. You can look at the running game and the wins when they picked up. It's when he started taking over the right tackle. Dan Moore still giving up sacks. He's part of the reason that Kenny Pickett got hurt. You know, another thing, Sean, you said he got hurt. No, Kenny Pickett gets hurt in the pocket, out the pocket, doing quarterback sneaks, running 3 yards. He's just injury prone. I don't think he's built for this right now. So, any way you cut it, man, he's been getting hurt, man. Claudio, I know you have not been high on Kenny Pickett. You weren't high on him at Pitt, and I know you've really been down on him in the NFL. What do you think about Rudolph? Do you think he has what it takes, or do you think it's just having a hot stretch right now? What would you do? You know, you're a world-famous Hall of Fame coach. What would you do?
Well, you got to go right now with the hot hand, and not the one with the small hands like Kenny Pickett. But with Kenny Pickett, again, some people were saying in the offseason, sign Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, and have Kenny Pickett sit behind them and learn. I don't care if you have Joe Namath, Marino, Montana, Warren Moon, all those guys. His arm isn't going to get better. His accuracy isn't going to get better. He just is not a number one draft pick. He's not a starting quarterback in the NFL. And I've been saying that from day one. Now, as far as Rudolph is concerned, right now, there's no question you have to start him. Even if he has a bad game Saturday and they still win, he's got to start in the playoffs. He's the hot hand. And then next year, I think you start off with Mason Rudolph as your number one, unless you do go and get a named quarterback and spend some money on him. But Kenny Pickett is not the answer. He is not the answer at all. He does not have the tools to be a star quarterback or a really good quarterback in the NFL. He's throwing 5-yard patterns. He's not accurate. Okay, he's had 24 starts. Yeah, they've won some games, but it wasn't because of him. And would they have done better in the losses? I just don't see it. And the Steelers, they have the running game. They don't have a bad defense. They have a lot of wide receivers. Everybody wanted to blame Matt Canada.
All right, Claudio. All right, looks like Claudio froze up. I'm gonna jump to the.
Let me pick up. Hey, Lou.
Let me jump in some of the comments real quick. All right, Frank said, "What's up? What's up, Frank?" Jason Thomas is in here. Jason Thomas, Penn State has no quarterback. Franklin has not got an elite quarterback yet. Look for him to get fired soon. Wow. Lee, small hands Pickett. Is Franklin overrated? All right, Lee. All right, Lee doing double duty. He on the panel and still texting. Go ahead, Lee. What you got to say, man?
I mean, to come back off with Sean and my thing is, if you look at all the quarterbacks in the NFL, they're in a pro scheme. And the thing is, Matt Canada really kind of hurt the development of Kenny Pickett because he was throwing a lot of out routes. That was short out routes, get rid of the ball, short out routes, wasn't going through his progressions. Just like Sean said, guys were open. That was a problem Ben had of reading the defense, going through his progression instead of just Ken Hines Ward and Heath Miller all the time. And now when you got these two guys that say, this is what was missing, because it was beyond conservative. And you got to let a quarterback go out there and throw the ball when you got a receiver one-on-one. I blame Canada. I blame Tomlin. But now when you got a team open up, because a lot of teams are performing and beating the Steelers with NFL pro scheme offense. But now when it comes down to the quarterback, I agree with Claudio based off the draft report of Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, small hands, and he has the slowest release. He's the opposite of Jeff George. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of time where he's going to be. They say, oh, his arm strength is better this year. Yeah, but and one other thing is I can't understand how you could go through mini camp and summer camp and go to preseason really relying, well, it was preseason hype, really relying on the schematics of Matt Canada and think you're going to win football games like this. The scheme is to let the guys run the ball, set the play action out, and for a defense to go single high with the safety, now you could do what you want. And, far as Kenny Pickett go, speculation with Tomlin won't do, but next season they need to have Mitch Trubisky's gone, but they need to open up the door to still look at another quarterback. Rudolph can be the answer, but Pickett, it will really show if he get an offensive coordinator from day one, fresh offensive coordinator, or these two guys again, get rid of the whole Matt Canada verbiage, terminology, start from scratch, and see how he plays. I still think it'll be the same results with Kenny Pickett.
Okay. All right, I got you. Claudia, do you want to add anything to it? We do have a couple comments I wanted to get to. Again, number to call, 412-320-5063. Claudia.
They can change the scheme. They can change the verbiage. You have to have the ability to execute those plays. He does not have it. Again, he does not have that one kid. I forgot what team he plays for. I forgot his name, but the ball just jumps out of his hands. Lee mentioned Jeff George. The ball shot out of his hands. He's got a slow release. Okay, maybe you can. Yes. Maybe you can shorten the delivery. You're right. Maybe you can make it a quicker release. Okay, fine. But you have to be born with X amount of ability. For example, to go back to boxing, Rocky Marciano, they always said how raw he was when he first came up. Now they made him a little bit better, but he always had that punch. Okay, you can maybe make Kenny Pickett better with a quicker release, maybe improve his footwork. He's not a bad athlete, but you're not going to make his hands bigger, which is very important, and you're not going to make his arms stronger. I was blessed with a very good arm for baseball. I had a very good arm, but with a football, not so much. Why? Because my hands aren't big. Okay, Kenny Pickett, that's damn important. We joke about it, but it's the truth. His hands aren't going to get bigger. His arm is not going to get stronger, and his accuracy, I really don't believe, is going to get that much better. You can bring in North Turner, Martz from St. Louis Rams, the best coordinators out there, and I just don't see him improving all that much.
Wow.
So Claudio, it would be Pickett himself, not the coordinators or the scheme.
The scheme is trash. I don't agree with this. The scheme has not been good all year.
Right, but Lee, let me ask you this: you're a boxing guy. If you see a guy who is a slugger, okay, you're not going to go in there and tell him to box like Sugar Ray Leonard because he doesn't have those attributes. Right. Maybe Canada, I'm sure in the playbook somewhere there were some deep patterns to Pickens. There was some deep patterns to Deontay. Okay, but maybe he just didn't think that Pickett could execute those plays. So now we have to not just dumb it down mentally. I don't mean that, but maybe dumb it down physically. Like me, as a baseball coach, I love to steal. But if I don't have guys who can steal, what the hell am I going to do? I have to put them in a position that best suits their ability, okay? Maybe Kenny Pickett was not a guy who can go 25, 30 yards. He was just a guy who could do dunks. And he wasn't very accurate with those. That's what I'm saying. If he wasn't accurate with a 5-yard pattern, how the hell is he going to be accurate with a 15, 20, 25, 30-yard pattern? I don't think Matt Canada is the greatest offensive coordinator of all time, but I'm sure he heard the whispers. I'm sure Tomlin said, hey, we know what we have to do, but we just can't do it.
Listen, man, Matt Canada was a horrible offensive coordinator. He was horrible with Big Ben, who was a Hall of Fame quarterback. He was horrible with Kenny Pickett, who was a rookie, and he got himself fired. Yeah, I was disappointed in Kenny's progression this year. I don't think Canada's helped him. Mason Rudolph isn't the answer. He's playing well now, but I still think they need to go in a different direction. Somebody put in the comments, Jason Thomas, Russell Wilson, Cousins Field. If you had a chance of those, who would you get? I don't know. Listen, they may have to sit and go with Rudolph. He got a hot hand right now. If he can get us into the playoffs, we'll see. Minka's coming back. There's still a chance, a small chance that they could get into the playoffs. So we'll see. Lee Pickett a little bit better than Ryan Leaf. Come on, man. Did we lose Sean?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Lou.
No, I'm still here.
Lou,
All right.
let me
Ryan
say
Leaf, though?
Look, let me say this
Hold on,
to you. So, one thing Thomas said at his press conference is that if Thomas said he know Pickett could get the job done because he got him in comebacks and things like that. But if you look at the comebacks, they were struggling. These were games that were under 20 points at the most. They were struggling, winning games in the fourth quarter. But when you want to get off to a fast start, and like he mentioned the word fluidity, and you got fluidity with the running game, you're not playing behind the sticks. You got a guy who throws the ball just like with his small hands. The ball's always selling. And that's the thing where his attributes is just not for the NFL. So, put Canada to the side. I think at this time, if they get into the playoffs, you need to run with Rudolph because Rudolph has showed you in these moments in hostile environments, as Tomlin would put it, he has been very consistent on third down, and they don't play behind the sticks that often.
All right. Jumping back in these comments, we got Frank Jackson says, "Stop the Kenny Pickett hate." I don't know if it's hate. Well, Claudio's been hating on him since he got here, but he hasn't performed, Frank. So, I understand where they're all coming from. He hasn't gotten the job done, and we'll see if they go in a different direction. Again, we got the number to call in 412-530-5063. Oh, we do have LD on the line. Let's jump and get LD on the line. LD, you on the line? LD, are you with us?
Yeah. Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
What's up, LD? What's going on, LD?
I just got a couple comments to make.
Okay.
I think our quarterback, our injured quarterback, he has to play at least another season to find out if he has it or not. Because when he did play, they had a winning record. I also say if he had played, they would have beat the Colts, and I think they would have beat New England too. Now, he didn't set the world on fire, but I think they would have won those games this year. So I think you have to give him a chance next year to see what he can do. If he can't do the job, then he should be gone. And something else. Think of him with a running game like they've had the last two games. I think that makes him a better quarterback also. What do you guys think?
Well, LD, I agree. The running game definitely helps, but the guys were, the running backs were there when he was playing, and he was struggling out there. I think he was missing the open throws. The deep game wasn't a part of the offense, and I think since Mason's got in there, George Pickens has just exploded the last two games. I don't know. I think they have to move in another direction. I was the biggest Kenny Pickett fan on this panel for a while, but after seeing a whole year and a half of it, I'm kind of off the bandwagon myself. But we'll see. Of course, they're going to give him another chance because he was a first-round pick, but they have to bring in some competition and really give Mason and Rudolph a chance to compete with him for the starting job.
Hey, Lou, the one thing is, if you notice that Cincinnati game, first play of the game, they ran an RPO and went straight down the middle to the tight end because that's what was neglected in Canada's offense, going down the middle. And one other thing is, the last game they ran a Matt Canada jet sweep, and Jalen Warren, he got stopped. So it took a couple of weeks when LD's talking about the games that they should have won. It took a couple of weeks to tweak and try to get out of the Matt Canada system because of the verbiage. This is all they had known all year. And it took a couple of weeks for these coaches to implement what they wanted to do to make those changes for the offense.
I got it. LD.
Yes.
Okay.
Just one more comment I have. Our receiver, Mr. Pickett, what did he say? Throw me the ball, right?
Yeah, he did.
He did. Him the ball, and he's catching the ball. Sometimes you got to listen to the players.
That's true. That's true. I mean, we've been calling for him to get the ball, but Kenny Pickett wasn't able to get it done, and Mason Rudolph is. So, I'm liking what the offense is looking like right now, man. But Jalen Warren, the blocking, him and Harris, that 1-2 punch is amazing. One question I want to have, Najee Harris, what do you guys do with him? He's up for the 5th year. What would you do with him, LD?
I'm keeping him. I like the way he runs. He runs with a lot of heart, especially in the last 3 or 4 games. Did you see him move the pile when he scored that touchdown?
I saw him move the pile. I saw him show all kind of ability. As soon as Jalen Warren gets in there and gets a big run, man, he turns into Earl Campbell when he comes back in there. So that 1-2 punch is competition. True.
That's friendly competition.
True, for sure. All right, anybody else? What do you all do with Najee Harris? Lee?
From day one, he's a big-time back, and I said it our first show before the season started. In my opinion, he's a top 3 back in the league. I like him a ton. I think he's big-time, and I think he can even be more effective if they throw him the ball out of the backfield. Can you imagine him catching the ball in an open lane and running people over? He'd be unbelievable.
He try to jump over people. We've seen him out in open field. He likes to jump a lot when he's out there. Hey, Jim, are you still on the line?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were asleep. I thought you were asleep. You were so quiet, Jim.
Hey, Lou, first of all, I agree with all you guys. What's missing about Mason Rudolph is underrated. The man, not only is he 6'5", he's a natural-born leader. He gets control of that huddle. There's no messing around. He don't mind dropping the N-words to get his point across.
Come on, Jim. There's no record of that, Jim. There's no record of him dropping N-bombs, Jim. Come on, man.
First of all, Lou, last night, I didn't know if my garbage can, if it was a cat or Najee Harris going through it. Because all it happens is on the break. And I tell you what, Najee Harris is starting to run like he ran at Alabama. And I tell you what, Lou, I've always liked that you cannot coach size. He got all the size in the world. He's still hungry. And I tell you what, you need 2 running backs. In 72, the greatest team of all time, the Miami Dolphins had Zonka, Kick, and Mercury for it. So I'm looking for not only 2 backs, 1 more back. Get rid of Hayward's brother and get another back in here. I tell you what, I love Najee Harris. I'd give him all the money in the world. I was a little disappointed. Listen, the one thing the Steelers was missing all season long, and they got it now, was the leader on offense. There was no captain. Last year, Najee was named captain. He wasn't even captain at Alabama. This year, Pickett was named captain. He ain't said 3 words since he said, I do. Now you finally got a leader in there at quarterback. I think the Steelers ought to lay him off.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Listen, and they're not paying running backs a whole lot right now, so they might be able to bring them back on a decent amount, man. You look at the contracts, the running back contracts they put out, it hasn't broken the bank. So we'll see what happens from there. It looks like we lost Kelly for a minute. He was in here, but he just stepped out. But LD, what else you got for us? Any other thoughts about the 2023 that we just passed? Any highlights that you want to talk about?
No, I just want to talk about the games coming up Saturday and Sunday. We got to hope that it just works out for the Steelers.
Yeah, they need quite a bit of help. You know, they got to win. And then if the Bills and the Jaguars lose, I posted it up here, they got a chance to get in. And there's other ways they could get in as well. So, you know, we'll see. And also that they can get the number 7 seed if they win and Buffalo and Jacksonville lose, or the Raiders and Jaguars lose and the Colts and the Texans do not tie. So there's a couple ways, but the main thing they got to do is beat the Ravens. So Lamar Jackson's not playing. They're going to face Huntley. So that's a good move there. They'll probably rest a couple other guys. So I like their chances. Ravens are playing like the best team in football. So we'll see. I think they can do it. What do you think the chances are against Baltimore, LD?
It's always a good game. Those games can go either way, no matter who's playing. But I think the Steelers can do it.
All right, LD. Real quick. As far as the game, the championship game Monday, we got Michigan, which I don't even think they should have been allowed today going playoffs. They should have been suspended because of hardball. You know, the man cheated, got a little slap on the wrist, and now they're in the championship game against my favorite. I thought he should have won the Heisman, Michael Penix Jr. You know, it should be a good game. I don't know about Washington's defense as far as stopping this run. We got to see. But I like their offense, man. Washington plays that great style. You know, he's in a line of Warren Moon. Lee, I saw you posted about Warren Moon back in the day, man. This Michael Penix Jr. got a rifle. He has a great receiver. Somebody said this Odunze is better than Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know about that, but both of them were great receivers. I still have Marvin Harrison Jr. as my number 1. What do you think about the game, LD? Who are you going for?
I want Washington to win. But their defense, they don't play very much D. So that offense better score at least 60 points.
Yeah. I mean, Michigan, Harbaugh's going to play the old school, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. They wore down Alabama. They're going to try to do the same thing to Washington and keep the ball out of their hands. So every time Washington gets it, they better score because I don't see their defense stopping Michigan too much. Anybody else want to weigh in on that?
Hey,
on
Luther. Yeah, Luther, I want to weigh in on it.
Luther,
I want to weigh.
All right, Jim.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Luther, you and LD, remember this, mark the tape. The greatest quarterback in the game plays for Michigan, and he's the best quarterback for Michigan. I guarantee you he'll go down as the greatest quarterback in NCAA history. Check him out next year. But listen, it's going to be an easy game. Ohio State needs to fire that bum right now. They can't beat Michigan. Michigan is so superior right now. If you can't beat Michigan, you can't coach at Ohio State. And I tell you what, they're going to be carrying Penix from play to play like he was Byron Leftwich, because Michigan going to take it, and you got to be able to run a little bit. And that brother can't run. He got a quick release. I like his arm, but I tell you what, he may be injured because he can't move in the pocket of Michigan's coming. That defensive line is the best I've seen. It's the 5 blocks of granite right there on that defensive line. They're outstanding, brother.
All right, so you got Michigan in an easy victory, huh? Is that what you're saying?
I got hardball. I'm a hardball man.
Oh, gosh. All right. I think we had Sean and then we had Lee. What'd you say, Sean?
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
LD, on the line, LD? Go ahead, Sean.
Okay, you know, on the past, since 2019, I've pretty much been up to Seattle, state of Washington, Vancouver every summer since 2019. I've been up there every summer. And if you knew me growing up, even though the Miami Hurricanes was my team, Bill Walsh College football is the reason why I like the Washington Huskies. I would use them. Nobody could score on me because of their 91 defense with Steve Emtman, DeMarco Farr, and all of them boys. Right. And you remember this past summer, my last night in Seattle, I ended up running into David Benavidez boxing gym and, you know, getting pictures with him and everything. The Mexican monster. So being a Penn State alumni, I can't root for Michigan. So Washington's coming to the Big Ten next year. So I'm gonna be rooting for the Washington Huskies to win. I can't being out there in the Big Ten now. I can't wait to go for a sailgate, which is the sailgate is a tailgate, but since the stadium is on Lake Washington, they have a lot of boats that do the tailgates on their boats. So I can't wait to do that. Being out there in the Big Ten now. Michael Penix, I remember when he was at Indiana. The only thing that would have me pick Michigan is that they already. I mean, it's funny to bring up film with Michigan because of all the legal stuff Harbaugh was doing the past couple years. But Michigan does have film on Michael Penix all of his years at Indiana. So they do have that up their sleeve to see, what style of plays that he ran. Because I think it's kind of similar. What he ran at Indiana is what he's running at Washington now. I would also like to see Washington win it because my guy up in Seattle, he got to meet Warren Moon when they had one of their presser days where they had fans come on the field and meet the players and meet the coaches. And I want to say Warren Moon is the play-by-play guy for the Washington Huskies. Now, here's what's fitting about this national championship, and nobody has said this. I thought of it, but nobody said this. Remember when Warren Moon came out of college, he won the Rose Bowl against Michigan, but being a black man in the 70s, he couldn't get a fair shot in the NFL. Right. He goes to Edmonton Eskimos, win 5 straight Grey Cups up there. Then, what's the first team that he plays from the NFL? The Houston Oilers. Where's the national championship being played at? In Houston, Texas. So wouldn't it be fitting the Washington Huskies win the national title in Houston?
Yeah, I like that.
Sean, don't forget he's one of the first to do for 5,000 yards in pro football.
Yes, pro football. Yes, I left that out. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Don't forget that either.
Yes.
Right. All right, Lee, you wanted to add something to it?
Nah, if you got boxing, I'm ready for boxing. That national championship is what it is, and Florida State should have been in it.
There you go. Florida State. Yeah, okay. If they had Dion, they would have been in it. Claudio, what about your thoughts on the championship game?
You know what? I think Washington is going to score a lot of points, and I'm looking for them to win by about 15 to 17 points.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. Well, if you're a betting man like Smokin Jim, put your money there because they're the underdogs. All right. Listen, man, we did say we wanted to talk about boxing. One of the biggest fights of the year that, well, it wasn't a good fight was the Bud Crawford Earl Spence beating. I had this one wrong. I thought it'd be a close fight. I thought Spence could win, and it was a one-way butt kicking, to say the least. Smoke, you did have it right. Your thoughts? Now they are going to have a rematch. I think it's going to be at 154. What were your thoughts about the fight, and you think it changes at 154?
It broke my heart for Earl Spence to accept that fight. He had no reason to accept it. He was already, the king of boxing. I knew he could beat Crawford. And that's what I predicted that Crawford would win easily. And it's not going to be any different at 154. But it's a nice payday. But Spence won't go down in history as one of the all-time greats. He probably would have had he not accepted this fight.
Oh, well, I was disappointed. Spence looked like a shell of himself. He didn't look good in there. He wasn't fluid. His punch resistance was gone. Jim, we used to watch a guy we called him Leather Pants, and he didn't have his legs the whole fight. He's back in training. He said he's back, and he's looking forward to maybe in March. They're coming back. We'll see. He didn't look good. I'm not sure that he could beat Crawford at this point. I think the accidents have really affected him, the tough living, the eye injuries. I don't know. He may not have it anymore, but we'll see. Bud's the older fighter, but looks like the fresher fighter. He lived a boxer's lifestyle, no eat, no drinking, no car accidents, and he looked great. Lee? And then we'll go Claudio and Sean.
And according to the police records, I don't think those were accidents. I think where were they? What kind of attempts were they, Jim?
Come on, man. You don't go down that route, man. Stop. No.
So I think that I wasn't on none of the boxing shows for whatever reason, but you gotta. When Bo Mack said at the press conference that
Big Mac. Okay.
Bo Mack said it was going to be easy fight. I said, wow. One thing I noticed, besides all the unsuccessful suicide attempts with his car.
Oh, man, come on, man. Stop that, Lee. We gonna catch your mic, man. Don't say that.
Hey, so one thing I noticed was that he slowed down. His hand speed wasn't there when he fought Ugod?
Ugod.
So Crawford, one thing about Crawford, he could fight right-handed, he could fight left-handed. And the thing is that Spence, you thought he was going to tear the body up, but the game plan, Spence is one-dimensional. And, Crawford set the traps, didn't show too many things, and then he started to rip him apart until the fight was stopped. And one thing, if the weight does change, I will still go with Crawford. There's a lot that Spence has to change because he never made the adjustment against Spence. Spence never made the adjustment against Crawford. But one thing, the major difference in this fight is the power. And that man been knocked down 3 to 4 times in this fight. That's going to be the major difference. As far as the boxing IQ, if he don't make an adjustment, it's going to be the same results.
Yeah, Derrick James got to earn his money, and they got to change a few things. Claudio, and then we'll go Sean. Claudio, your thoughts?
I think Spence lost his fastball, and he found out he lost his fastball in the ring, which is the worst place to find out. Crawford just beat him down. Whatever Spence had left, Crawford beat it out of him. And I think it's going to go maybe about 6 or 7 rounds. It's going to get stopped. I think mentally, as soon as that first round happens and Bud starts hitting him again, Spence is going to say, "Oh, I just don't have it anymore." And they're going to stop it. He looked bad. He looked drained. Yeah. Crawford drained him. I don't think he's going to go into the fight physically or mentally where he used to be. I don't think he can pull the trigger anymore. Like Lee said, his hands are slower. He doesn't have fire that shot out of the gate anymore. And I think it's going to be an easy fight, 6-7 round stoppage for Bud Crawford.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We got another comment. Jason Thomas said Bud on the juice. I don't know about that, man. He beat him down. Sean, your thoughts?
One thing I want to say about the fight, and Luther, I got people in the that's in tune with the Spence camp. I will say this, and this is another thing nobody pointed out. During the fight and after the fight, because I went to a place up here in Columbus, Ohio to watch the fight. One thing nobody pointed out, if I'm not mistaken, Lee McGinnis, you may be able to point this out, being that you're a boxer. I think usually Crawford will fight orthodox and then he'll fight then he'll switch southpaw. If I'm not mistaken, Crawford fought orthodox the whole fight.
No, he fought southpaw.
Okay. Well, he fought one way the whole fight. I got that wrong. I'm sorry about that. The scary part about the Crawford Spence fight, whenever Crawford fights anybody, he usually switches up. He never switched up against Spence. That's the scary part about Spence wanting to fight him again, is that if he only beats you one style, imagine what he's going to do when he switches up. Because usually when he switches up, that's when he's going for the killer instinct. And he never even did it this fight. That's the scary part.
And the thing about what you just mentioned, yes, he claims just like Mayweather, they don't have a game plan when they come in the ring. They don't watch videotapes on fighters. But one thing is, what makes it awkward for both fighters is it's natural for me to go against a right-hander because that's who I'm normally sparring. But when I'm up against a left-hander, I'm not accustomed to it because I'm not used to sparring or fighting a left-hander. Now, I'm not to say I'm not prepared or haven't done it, but this is what happens when during training camp, we don't know which way this guy's going to come out. And if you don't prepare for it, when two lefties fight, that's not majority of fights is against right-handers. So one thing, you got to, Crawford, if you look at his record, how many left-hand fighters had he fought, and were they solid as how many left-hand fighters has Spence fought? Were they solid like Crawford?
Right. All right, let's jump. We do have another comment. We want to jump in here. Frank Jackson says Boots beats both of them overrated cats. Philly stand up. Well, Boots got to get in there. Boots did get the IBF. They stripped Bud Crawford from it. Real quick, we only got a few more minutes, man. I appreciate everybody coming in here. Smokin Jim, I got to bring you back in the conversation. You had some very disparaging comments about Lamar Jackson, who I think is the MVP of the NFL season this year. And I think they're the favorites, in my opinion, to win the Super Bowl. You disrespected Lamar Jackson all year. Jim, are you ready? Oh, no. No, you said the man can't throw. He can't do this.
He can't throw.
Well, 5 touchdowns last game against Miami.
He only got 17 touchdown passes, so let's not act like we're talking about Dan.
Because they're a running team. I mean, nobody said he's there, but you said he can't throw.
He's the lead runner. He's the lead runner on the team.
And a leading passer. He's the MVP, Jim. Will you put some respect on Lamar Jackson's name, Jim? That's all I'm asking you.
He will never win a playoff game. 17 touchdowns.
He already won a playoff. First of all, he already won a playoff game.
How long ago was that?
No, you said he didn't win one. He won a game, and he's probably going to take the team to the championship. So you still won't give him credit, Jim. You still don't think he deserved all the money he got, Jim. I want to give him MVP because he's the best player in the NFL, and he's proved it against the 49ers, Miami, and everybody else he played in. That's why I'm going to give him the MVP. Okay, and he's not getting the MVP this year. He's not even getting the defensive MVP. I would say would go to Myles Garrett. As good as T.J. Watt is, it got to go to Myles Garrett.
Did Mason Rudolph vote for you?
You what? Oh, come on, Jim. That's just pure hate, man. Listen, anybody else has some reasonable thoughts about Jackson? Because Jim just hates. He must have a lot of money on him. Claudio?
I've always liked Lamar Jackson. I've always liked Lamar Jackson. He's a dangerous quarterback. He can run, and I think he's got a hell of an arm. I've always liked him from day one.
Yeah, I definitely. I don't know where Jim gets that from. I wanted the Steelers to draft him, but they chose to get Terrell Edmonds. Just reached for safety, and Lamar Jackson was sitting there, as did 30 other teams. He should be our quarterback. And I told you all that. No, they don't. When they had Flacco, they were struggling. When they put Jackson in, they started winning again. Those are the facts. Those are the facts, Jim. And they were losing, and John Harbaugh was about to lose his job until he made the switch. Those are the facts, not the bull crap you're spreading, Jim. Lamar Jackson is that guy. Maybe if he wins a championship, you'll come back and admit that you were wrong.
He can't beat Cleveland. Flacco will beat Baltimore.
Hey, Jim. Hey, Lou.
Yeah.
I wanted somebody to open up, and I'm just going to say this. The team formerly known as the Cleveland Browns is not winning the Super Bowl this year. The team known as the Cleveland Browns, believe me, will be in the Super Bowl this year with Flacco.
Man, you and Jim, you and Jim are smoking the same stuff that Cat Williams was smoking and drinking last night. Because the Cleveland Browns are not going to no daggone Super Bowl with Joe Flacco. The defense is real deal, but Flacco, listen, he's having a hot streak, as is Mason Rudolph, but he's well past his prime.
What's the difference with Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl?
Tom Brady's one of the GOATs.
When he went to Tampa Bay.
They had a great D, great receivers.
Okay.
Cleveland Brown is playing with a backup running back. Minka Fitzpatrick destroyed Chubb's knee. They have 2 backup running backs. The receivers aren't great. He's playing great right now, but they haven't beaten great teams. In the playoffs, you play great teams, and that's where he'll lose.
Playoffs is the second season.
Pardon me? And Njoku, why you got to be the African, Jim? He got a name, man.
I couldn't pronounce it. That's why I ain't mentioned it.
Jim loves saying the African. Oh, my goodness. Listen, we got 5 minutes. A couple things I did want to, talk to you guys about. Jim kind of mentioned it earlier when he said about Aliquippa. Lee, you're a referee. Your thoughts about forcing Aliquippa to move up to 5A? I think that's ridiculous.
It doesn't matter what A it is for me because I'm going to be there regardless. I just think what you mentioned earlier in the show, and Jill mentioned about the 18 members on the band, the numbers is low. They don't have the 75 players that they need to win. They could beat teams, but it, like Tomlin mentions in his press conference, it comes down to nutrition. And when you got numbers and you got guys that are, I've done JV games where there's teams out there that I'm not going to mention. Their JV team could beat varsity teams. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. Yes, their front line, their starters could go out there and destroy these teams like Gateway and things like that. But but the nutrition of the numbers, when it comes down to injuries and, like Thomas say, player availability and labor, divisional labor, other teams in other classifications has more than them. So there, to me, I think moving them to 5A will be non-competitive for them. It will be bad.
Yeah, one injury, you're putting these guys at risk. Real quick, Jim, we got a couple minutes. Go ahead.
But don't forget, those other 5A schools during the week, they got to study.
Jim, you go pushing that fake narrative. Listen, man, real quick, the UFL, XFL.
Yes.
What do you think about that, Lee? We know you're a big fan.
Pittsburgh Maulers ain't come back since Mike Rozier. I went to the championship game last year. I went to the playoff game. The biggest thing, and let y'all to understand this, they picked teams that had home fields. So teams like Pittsburgh, New Jersey, Philadelphia, they played at hub locations. So they only picked teams that had home fields. That's why the Houston Gamblers didn't get picked. That's why the Houston Roughnecks got picked, because they all had home fields. This league will be around.
All right, good. Hey, Claudio, last question. We got less than 1 minute. Saudi is back in sports, as we see here. Anthony Joshua, he's fought 3 times over there. Good or bad thing that they're, putting money into boxing? Your thoughts real quick, as we got 30 seconds.
It's a good thing. It was a great card. Live Golf started it out, and whenever you're a pioneer, you're going to get most of the criticism. Live Golf took all the criticism. Nobody's criticizing boxing. They got the money. These athletes deserve to get money. I don't think that they have any hate in their mind. I'm talking about the athletes. They just want to take care of their families by utilizing their athletic ability. This is what they do for a living. And the golfing, the boxing, who knows what's next? But the athletes are making a hell of a lot of money for it.
All right, hey guys, that's our time, man. Appreciate you, Sean, Lee, Smokin Jim, Claudio. We'll check you out next time. Check out the website. Support us, SC Sports Road. Happy New Year, y'all. We got big things coming. Saving lives through these lines is coming. Make sure you check out your listings. The documentary is going to be fire, and we'll check you out next time. Peace.